Okay, so this evening I'm going to talk about one of the LPs that I've pulled out from one of the boxes that I've got, and it is this one, Deep Purple's Fireball. Now this is the second of a trio of LPs from the famous Mark II lineup, featuring Ritchie Blackmore, Roger Glover, Ian Paice on the drums, more about him in a second, John Lord, and of course Ian Gillan on vocals. So the opening salvo of this is essentially an amazing Ian Paice drum riff, which is one of the main reasons that Ian Paice turned out to be one of my favourite drummers of all time. In fact, his performance on this record as a whole is so magnificent, but it has to be heard to be believed. It's another of the records that really turned me on to drumming. Not that I was ever any good, but that doesn't matter. As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. So what have we got on here? As I say, it starts off with Fireball, and then we have the amazing No No No. I mean, the lyrics on this are absolutely superb in my opinion. Love what Gillan does on this, both vocally and the actual lyrics. Then we get on to Demon's Eye, which is track 3 on side 1, which is a kind of slinky little number, and again, Ian Paice is just magnificent on this. And then it closes with Anyone's Daughter, which Gillan thought was a bit silly. A lot of people think it's a bit silly, but I really enjoyed it. I think after all that power on side 1, you need something like Anyone's Daughter just to bring things down a little bit. And it is fun. It's a bit of a laugh. I wouldn't say it's daft. To me it's fun. So the guys themselves didn't really think that this album was particularly classic or brilliant as the years passed by. A lot of them tended to think that it was badly produced, badly written, not badly played, but hurriedly recorded, because apparently there was pressure to get the thing out in the shops and get it done like yesterday. But I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing when you actually hear it. Okay, the production is not noticeably bad, but there are shinier, glossier productions from the same era by whoever, all kinds of different people. But I don't think the production suffers, makes this record a bad record at all. In fact, out of the 3, In Rock, this and the one that comes after it, this is my personal favourite. I love this. I reach for this more than I reach for In Rock. Don't get me wrong, In Rock's great, but to me Fireball is an absolute favourite. I remember my mother of all people bringing this home after a shopping trip to town, to Manchester, and I basically just asked her, could you get that? I didn't expect for a second that she would, because I didn't think she'd be able to find it, because this is not her kind of music. But she brought it home. She found it and brought it home. One winter's evening I was like, whoa, and put it on, and it was just absolutely fabulous. To be attacked in that way by Ian Paice's brilliant introduction to Fireball was just fantastic. And then we have side 2, which to me is a perfect side of good solid British hard rock music. You've got The Mule, you've got Fools, again Ian Paice on that is absolutely superb, and No One Came, which finishes the record, again lyrically brilliant, and Ian Gillan is superb on that one. His delivery, his humour is just brilliant. So this to me is an album that has 2 amusing songs, not silly, just amusing, which close off each side. And I love that, because side 1 is powerful, it's heavy, you need something to bring it down. Side 2 again is powerful and heavy. You need something just to bring things down a little bit, without going over the top. So how did the public take to this? Well, the fans absolutely loved it. Went straight to #1 in the UK and America. So the fans absolutely loved this. Couldn't get enough of it. Fireball was all over the radio at that stage. The song, that is, not going to play most of the record, I don't think. I don't remember radio in those days, but I don't think they played that many deep cuts. It was normally the ones that were the lead-off track or ones that were singles that would get airplay in those days. Critics seemed to like it on the whole, but as the years went by, as I said, the band themselves were a little bit indifferent towards it. In particular Ian Gillan, who again, he didn't really like Anyone's Daughter. Richie Blackmore didn't particularly like the way he was rushed. Some of the stuff apparently was literally just, they were in the studio and they just threw ideas around off the top of their heads because they had to get it done. So that was some of the pressures that bands like this were under at this stage in the early 70s. Get it out, get on tour, stop messing about. That was the attitude from management and record companies. So it's not all glam being in a band, or at least it wasn't back then. You had to work hard and pull your tripes out, whether you were ill or not. And there were a couple of members of this band who weren't in the best of health, even as young men at this stage. Roger Glover wasn't particularly well. John Lord had issues with his back because he had to cart all these massive instruments around, these keyboards and organs, etc. So it wasn't all glam to be in a successful band. You had to work your guts off, you had to work your tripes out to be successful. So it wasn't all glam. To the fans it was probably like, oh, these guys are so lucky, etc. But actually the reality was something quite different. So yeah, have you heard Fireball by Deep Purple? You really should. It's, to me, absolutely superb. It's the best, well, it's my favourite. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's my favourite, my absolute favourite Deep Purple record of all time. So, that's Deep Purple Fireball from 1971.